Welcome to Sound of Hope News. I'm your host, Wei Fang.
I'm Kathy Zhang.
Yeah, actually, we got four major pieces of news for you, and then first we want to talk to you about the Maricopa battle, as we named the other day, the previous one. It took another twist. Okay, and then we're talking to you about what's the new census that was released of the 2020 census. What does that mean to our political landscape? And then we'll be talking about the California governor recall, and what would happen from there. It's become a reality now. The governor will face a recall. Well, would he lose his job? Who will be taking that job if he loses his job? And the fourth one, actually, is the main thing. The yesterday's Oscar ceremony, okay, the award, right? Mm-hmm. And just lost 60% of its audience. And then why did that happen? And what is behind that? That's what I want to share with you. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Now let's talk about the first in Maricopa County. Mm-hmm. So what is the update there, Kathy?
Yep. So we all know that on last Thursday, there is the Maricopa County, actually the Arizona Democratic Party filed a lawsuit, tried to stop the Maricopa County audit by the state Senate. And on Friday, the Superior Court judge, Christopher Corey, actually requested them to post a $1 million bond. Otherwise, he had to allow this audit to go ahead. The Arizona Democratic Party refused to pay, so during the weekend, the audit was going on as scheduled, and but last night there was another turn. What happened is that because the Democratic Party in Arizona, they have been just pushing ahead, try to stop this this audit by fighting this lawsuit. So the party who is involved, one of the major parties involved in this lawsuit is it's called Cyber Ninja. It's a private company from Florida. So this company, they hired some more lawyers to defend them. And the lawyers just submitted some document yesterday. And then the Superior Court Judge, Corey, he found that one of the lawyers had been working in his office for a few years. And then, so all of a sudden he said, I have to recuse myself from presiding this case. So what happened was the court just appointed another new judge. And also, it has to postpone the originally scheduled hearing this morning at 11 a.m. And who's the new lawyer? The lawyer's name is Daniel Martin.
You mean the judge?
Oh, the judge, I'm sorry. Yeah, the new judge. His name is Daniel Martin. And it was found that he was appointed by the Democratic governor at that time, Janet Napolitano, in 2007. And this new lawyer very quickly scheduled the hearing for tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow there will be the hearing for the lawsuit, and we don't know what's going to happen, and so we have to wait and see. So this lawsuit by the Arizona Democratic Party is really something in the, it's trying to block the whole audit right now. And so the attorneys for the Senate Republicans, who's also named in this lawsuit, the lawyer contended that the case should be thrown out because of the legislative immunity. But the other side, the Democratic lawyer, said that this immunity cannot be too broad, and that the four companies that are hired by the Senate should not be covered by this immunity. So that's their argument. There's another thing is about the security around the Coliseum where the audit is going on right now. So out of the security concern, the Senate actually hired some securities, but the Senate President, Karen Fann, actually asked the Maricopa County Sheriff to just send more police to provide some deputies to secure the Coliseum, but was rejected by the sheriff out of, saying the sheriff said the Coliseum is a state property and the Senate had signed an indemnification agreement, so we cannot just send you some deputies. So that's where it stands right now.
Well, take about 6 weeks for the mystery to, to be sorted through. So a lot of pairs of eyes are looking at the set on the that stadium, right?
But it depends on tomorrow's hearing, what's going to happen, what the judge will decide tomorrow.
Yeah. So keep an eye, on it for you. And then now let's move on to the next, which is the census. The census data was released and recently, and this is the 23rd. 23rd federal census since 1790, since the founding of the nation. All right. So basically, the census. What was the result, Kathy?
The census results?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just the first set of data that they're publishing for now. So first of all, the total population as of April 2020, how many in the United States is about 331 million people, a little bit over. So which means it's 7.4% increase from last census, which is in 2010.
And also compared to 10 years ago, between 2000 and 2010, U.S. population increased by 10%. So this past 10 years is 7.4%.
Yeah, and it's the second lowest in the history. Yeah, after the 1930s.
Actually, I did some check about around the 1850. So the growth is 40 to 50%. It is that high. Yeah.
Yeah, and so another point is some of the states actually gained congressional seats depending on the growth of population, and some of the states actually are losing seats because of decrease in the population. So what are the ones that gaining population and the seats? Texas is the biggest winner. They are gaining 2 seats.
So which has to do with the House of Representative, and also has to do with the Electoral College, as you know.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, and also Carolina, Colorado, Oregon, Montana, Florida, they all added 1 seat. And who lost seats? Who are losing seats? Well, California. California lose 1 seat, and it's the first time that California losing seat because of the slower migration.
Yeah, so California has been increasing seats for 170 years. This is the first time California is reversing its growth in population. Actually, it's not growth. Okay, they're
losing.
They increased 2 million people compared to 10 years ago, but comparatively, Texas increased 4 million. Okay, so because it's all proportional, to the total population, so it did not grow fast enough. So it lose the
seats.
Yeah, the seats.
And also New York, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania each losing 1 seat.
Yeah. So if I summarize this from political point of view, so before this 2020 census data came out, and among the 7 seats that was gone, about 4 of them are from the blue states, and 3 from the red states. So blue state, Democrat has almost a 1 vote advantage. But after the data came out and the redistricting would take place, then GOP got more GOP states got more seats. So the Democrat versus GOP is 2 versus 5. Okay, so it was 4 versus 3. Now it's 2 versus 5. So you're counting the difference is about 4 seats difference. All right, just remember, guys, the Democrat now in the House only is leading the Republican only by 6 votes, 6 seats. 218 versus 212. Just a thing here, right? So with that 4 seats difference, if nothing else change, only this change, then the majority in the House would flip. So that's kind of the relevance, and that's why it's taking, catch the attention of so many people today. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's although maybe in a short term those so-called red states, the Republican states, would have some edge because of the redistricting and the increasing of the seats. But on the other hand, it is also possible that the people, because the states are losing not either losing population or not increasing enough. We know a lot of people moved from California, where we live, and also New York, especially during the past year, moving to states like Texas, Florida, Colorado. And so some people just are saying that in from California and New York, states like that, people are carrying their votes to the other states. And so some of the conservatives in those states are saying, it's okay, you move here, but don't bring your votes here, don't bring your liberal views here. So what's going to happen even, down the road, it's hard to say. It's really big, it's something to watch out.
Yeah, what do you think? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
If you have to have a guess, so which factors weighs more? Conservative people leaving the Democrat state and moving to Republican state, versus people just move there because of job and whatever, natural move, and then they bring their liberal point of view along with them, right? They cannot leave it behind. They will bring it with them. So the effect of these two different factors would, be countering to each other, right? So what do you think? I'm just, curious about how you would think about that. Which one weighs more? Okay. Yeah. Actually,
it's interesting to find out. I actually interviewed, because California had a big exit, during the past few years.
Yeah.
Exodus. And I interviewed, it's very interesting, a landlord, actually, he had 4 or 5 tenants. They are all moving together with him.
Oh, really?
They were, moved to Colorado.
What does that mean? So landlord will go buy a apartment?
he bought a huge house in Colorado, and those tenants were moving with him. Okay, because they like him so much, and then also they just feel that they couldn't afford keep living in California. So just by talking to them, I know on one hand that they were fed up with some of the policies in California, and also how California has changed. But on the other hand, actually, a couple of them actually at that time, it's before the election, they were really supportive of Trump. That's what I know, but not all of them. So it's interesting, the changes they are bringing to the state of Colorado.
Yeah. So actually, to be honest, I do think that conservative move more into conservative states. That factor, weighs more than the other factor. So it's like a red state. If I'm right, okay, then red state will become redder, and we'll see whether that's the case. So the country is just become more polarized. People are just stay with their own people. Now let's move on to another thing that's happening in California. The Governor Newsom, will certainly face a recall election later this year. Okay, either in November or earlier than that. So because altogether 2.1 million signature was collected for that recall, and the requirement is only 1.5 million. So they have counted, and they got 1.6 million now. So that's enough.
Yeah, it's over 100,000 more than the threshold.
Right. Yeah, so next, they give people 30 days to regret and pull back their signatures. After that 30 days, it will become final. So Newsom will be the second governor in California history to face a recall election. And who's the first one? If you remember, 2003, it's the Governor Gray Davis. He was replaced by a Hollywood movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you still remember that. So that's so this time is the second one. So, yeah.
And so it's so the California voters will have two choices on this recall election, right? So first of all, do they support the recall of Newsom? And if at least half of the voters agree with that, then the second choice is who will replace Newsom. And so for the first question is would half of the voters just agree to recall? According to some polls, recent polls, only 46% of the California voters approve of Newsom's job performance. Compared to last September, the approval rate was 67%. So it significantly dropped largely because of Newsom's action dealing with the pandemic. We talk about that a lot. And the other thing is, it's very interesting. According to one of those reports, more than 30% of the people who signed the petition to recall him are Democrats and independents. So which probably give people more hope that the recall is going to be successful. And who knows, maybe a Republican candidate could win this election because it's just a simple election, right? Like in 2003, over 120 candidates actually participated in the election, and Schwarzenegger got the most votes, and he, become, in the name he is a Republican. So
yeah, basically you don't need to get a lot of vote. You don't need to get to the majority of the vote. You just need to be the number one,
right,
among all the competitors.
Yeah, and right now the most prominent Republican candidates, including the former San Diego mayor, Kevin Faulconer, and reality TV star Kathleen Jenner, and also the businessman John Cox, who had a runoff with Newsom last time but lost, and also former Congressman Doug Oz.
Yeah, actually, Luis Fernandez, you said we need Trump to come out and endorse a candidate. This reminds me of something. Okay, actually, my audience actually came to me last November, before next November. They asked this question, which is in a serious way. They said, "Can we turn red? Is California gonna turn red?" I was just saying that that's a little too far-fetched. But they said no. This is strong sense of support for Trump. So it will be interesting. I think the so-called pundit would say if Trump came out and endorse a candidate, then it would be hurt their chance because California is like is Democrat versus Republican is like 2-1. Okay, so I think that may work against them. What do you think? I don't think so. These days those polls are just wrong. Okay, people think different. They don't express themselves. So if there's a fair election, people will be really, really surprised. They could be really, really surprised.
Yeah, and one possible candidate that Trump could be endorsing would be Rich Cornell, right? The former...
Which is the acting director of the National Intelligence in the Trump administration. And he actually, in the CPAC, he announced that he's going to run for it. He hinted.
And did not announce.
Right,
though.
he hinted he's going to run for it. So compared to with all the other Republican candidates, they don't seem to be that big named. So we'll see. It's interesting. So basically, we're talking about two battles here, right? One is Maricopa, and another is California. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is Oscar. Did you watch it? If you did not watch it, totally understandable.
Yeah, but who watched it?
How about this? Can we find someone, anybody who watched it?
And let us know what you think.
Yeah, just type it there. And what do you think? Because I think the majority of us didn't watch it because Nelson rating said less than 3% of Americans watch it. So if you do, please share with us your point of view. How do you think about that? So what I'm seeing there is the rating. Okay, it's the rating. The number of audience dropped over the year from 2014 all the way to 2021. So basically, it dropped 58% or 60% of the last year, audience-wise. And the last year is already the record low.
Yeah.
So it's 60% below the record low. So to put into context, right, as you can see, in 2014, it's almost like 42 million people watched it. That's not the highest number. in 1998 when the Titanic was released, and that year, 50. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I got the data right. 54 million people. Okay, 54 million people. I'm sorry, 57 million people watched the Oscar ceremony on that day. Now, yesterday it is less than 10. 9.9 million people watched it. And then another comparison is this. In 1970, did you watch that movie, Midnight Cowboy, 1970, in the 42nd Academy Award? 43% of American watched that night.
Well, a lot of audience say did not watch it, not even know the Oscar was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people just lost interest on that.
Just hear my contrast here. Okay, 43% in 1970, less than 3% last night. So where is Oscar going, right? So people are voting with their remote. Right? These days, people vote with not just their votes, not just with their ballots. They vote with their
wallets,
the dollar, and then with their remote control. So they from 43% to less than 3%. This is where Oscar is. So I read about some commentaries. Somebody wrote that they get together celebrating themselves. They just flatter each other. Oh, you are great. Oh, you are great. Things like that. But now I want to talk about something in more depth, because I share this with my Chinese audience, and I think it's important to share with you, even though you may know this much better. So we all know, many of them, traditionally, we love Hollywood movie. American movie are the best movie, at least for Chinese people. They're the best quality and very, very impressive, well produced and everything, things like that. But we were never aware of what is the hidden agenda behind those movies. So let me tell you these 4 categories. First, about the capitalism. And this is Orange County Register article, which I quote from. And then the author said this: in almost every movie of the Hollywood, capitalism is an evil. All right. So one example is the Avatar, right?
Avatar.
In the movie Avatar, the nature, basically the greedy miners want to kill nature-loving, aliens in the Avatar. And we saw enough movie about capitalism, the greed and the viciousness of those capitalists, right? We thought they were just criticizing, some bad human nature, and but no, there's a hidden agenda there. They did this intentionally, and actually, the free market and the capitalism is the best system. When it was first introduced to this country in the late 18th century, okay, it bring the prosperity of America, okay. But these days, Hollywood was they were just attacking capitalism in the very, artistic way and a very undetectable way. And in another movie, I don't know what you watched. It's called In Time. It depicts rich people living forever by buying more time, which they hoard while arranging for higher prices. So poor people will die. So that's kind of thing. And then, that's the capitalism. Another one is called socialism. Recently, there's a new Amazon series. It's called Jack Ryan. I don't know why they watch it. But the hero in this movie asks a good question about the Venezuela. The question is, why is this country in the midst of one of the greatest humanitarian crises in history? Fair question, right? Well, we all know the answer. Because socialism ruined the country's economy. No. Nope.
Not according to Hollywood.
That's not what the answer that Jack Ryan gives. He said the reason is the nationalist pride. We don't know what is that nationalist pride, but he clearly said it is not a socialism. As a matter of fact, the politicians in the movie who fix things there is activists running on a social justice platform. So the producers reverse the reality and portraying leftists as Venezuela's savior rather than the people who destroy it. Okay, and another story is about actor Kevin Sobel. The F1, can not the F1? Yeah, can we just put on his picture? Actually, Kevin Sobel, Kathy interviewed him during the CPAC, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the star superhero in the Hercules movie. Yeah, can we just play his name? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is his story, right? Kathy told it. I'm just repeating this. After he expressed his conservative views in Hollywood, he got all of a sudden, this is his original word, all of a sudden, the last cause. My agent said we'd better part ways. So the agent walked away from him. He lost all his, those movie contract. And so he even was banned from a comic book convention. Okay? And Sobel said this. He said they are the ones who said we need to be tolerant. We need to have love. But he said, but they are the most anti-tolerant people. Every movie, every TV shows, there's always some point, some place where they will pretty much degrade anybody who is conservative or Republican. Okay, anyway, but it's not a sad story. Okay, it's not a sad, ending. His response is to make his own movie. So, for example, one of his movies is Christian drama, God's Not Dead. God's Not Dead. That movie cost $2 million in production and it made $140 million. Another conservative star, his name is Mel Gibson, as we all know, and he produced a movie called The Passion of the Christ. $30 million was invested in it. So how much it generated? $612 million. So, okay, while looking at this Kevin Sobel, and Mel Gibson is not really, banned that brutally, but he's, because he's too much a big star. They make him a very big star before they realize it. But anyway, remember that they produce their own movie. They make a lot of money. Okay, and those Hollywood people, those Academy Award, those people, they have enough money, right? Enough movie contract. See what happened? They got less than 10 million viewers compared to 57 millions back in the 1970s. They only have 3%, less than 3% of this country's eyeballs. So who will ended up being popular? Who would ended up being popular, right? I think that's a question we ask. And another one, I want to call it out. Okay, Hollywood recently released a movie called, it's about a man's first trip to the moon. Okay, intentionally they leave out the American flag. All right. So when the movie star Ryan Gosling, let's show his picture. Let's remember this guy. And when he was asked by a reporter about that, why did you do that? He said, it is widely regarded in the end, the moon landing is a human accomplishment, not an American accomplishment. It's a human accomplishment. That's his point of view. All right. So in terms of capitalism, socialism, conservatism, and the Americans' role, Hollywood have their clear agenda. So I have to tell my audience, my Chinese audience, when you pick a movie for your family, for your kids, you may even have to watch it yourself first. Right? These days, you drink a Coke or Pepsi, you watch this movie or that movie, it all involves care and, just alertness.
Yeah, it just reminds of us in China, we realize that all the forms of arts, including movies, have been used by the Chinese Communist Party as one of form of indoctrinate people. Unfortunately, Hollywood seems to be going down that route. It's very, very unfortunate. And although, just like we give you some examples of some of the movie stars and producers not in that camp, also include, there are more actually than what we mentioned, like, for example, like Bildman, Michael said Tim Allen is also an outsider, and there are a few others that we know. So...
Okay.
Yep.
So that would be pretty much about it. And
I think people are waiting.
I don't have a joke for you guys.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I'm just too busy preparing for things. And
Monday is a busy day.
Okay, but how about this?
Okay.
It can be better. I normally pick a joke better than this, but let me just tell this and see whether you like it. Since we're talking about actors, right? There's great actors who could no longer remember his lines, right?
Yeah,
Remembering lines is very
tough
important.
job.
So after several years of searching, he finally find a theater where they seems to prepare to give him a chance to shine again. All right. So director said, this is the most important part. Okay, you only have one line, only one line.
Oh, that seems easy.
At the beginning, you walk on the stage and carry a rose. Okay, carry a rose. Then you hold the rose to your nose with just one finger, okay? One finger and the thumb. And then sniff the rose deeply and said the line, oh, the sweet aroma of my lady.
That doesn't sound difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the actor was thrilled. I got the chance just with this. That's fantastic. But he was very, very nervous. Okay, all day long before the play, he's practicing this line over and over again. And then finally, the time comes. The curtain goes up. The actor walk up there onto the stage, and with the greatest passion he can ever get together, he delivered the line. Oh, the sweet aroma of my lady. So, the theater erupts. The audience screaming with laughter, and the director was really steaming backstage. So after he got off, the director came to him. You idiot! You've ruined my show.
Why?
He was really puzzled. So
Yeah.
what happened? I didn't forget my line. I said it very well. The director said, yes, you indeed said it very well, but you didn't bring the rose with you.
Okay, so he was so concentrated on the lines, forgot about the rose, unfortunately.
Okay, I deliver you some story of the actors in Hollywood, okay? All right. Oh, that's all for today.
All right. Yeah, thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been great.
Thank you very much. Until next time, the day after.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.